Hi. Welcome to yoga. I have felt bad about this all week and I didn't know how to correct it, but last week I kept saying it was episode 58 and it wasn't, it was 57. And this episode is 58. I don't like it when numbers are out of order. A little OCD maybe, but it really annoyed me when I was downloading the video and I realized that I kept saying it was the wrong number. I didn't know how to go back and fix it. So, without sending out like a townwide Nixle alert or something. So, nice to be with you. Good to see you. It's a beautiful day. It is Friday. This will get uploaded tonight for tomorrow for the weekend. But it's a nice sunny day. It's not too cold. It's not raining. It's just nice. So, I hope you're well. I hope everyone's feeling good and healthy and strong. We're just going to play around for a while today and get moving, get all the creaks and kinks out, try to hit all the big areas, back, hips, shoulders, what else, side bodies maybe, just a little bit of everything, a mixed bag of stuff. So, get comfy on your mat, lay on your back, arms up, palms up, find your breath, have your blanket or towel or cushion or something that you like to sit up on, perch on, next to you so that you have that ready for when we need that in a minute. I think that's it. That's all the usual, right? So, let's get started. You are laying on your back. Look at that ray of sun right here. I love that. Warm and cozy. We used to have a cat named Penny. We had her for a really long time, and she passed away right before Thanksgiving last year, actually. And she would seek out a spot like this. Even on like the coldest day in February, if there was a little bit of a sunspot on the floor somewhere, she would find it and that would be her spot. And she didn't move a lot. She was she was kind of a lazy, antisocial cat, if you will. Not a great personality, but we loved her. But she would move all day in little tiny micro increments to stay in that sunny spot. So whenever I see a big sunny spot on the floor like that, I think of her. So, you're on your back, eyes are closed, palms are facing up towards the ceiling. My skin is starting to get that itchy, dry feeling. I shaved last night and I threw on a ton of moisturizer, but then I showered today, so obviously it's all gone and I didn't re-moisturize like I should have. I made it a goal to have moisturized skin all winter. So far I'm not doing well. Not even winter yet. Alright, so you're on your back. Just kind of contemplate how you're feeling. Take a minute, take some deep breaths. Let yourself settle on the mat. And just notice how you're feeling. Start at the top of your head, work your way down. I have had a good week of lots of walking and jogging. I've been able to do 5 miles every day this week because my husband's work schedule has been such that he's been home in the morning. So when Cam needed to go to school or start school here, Mike was here. So it worked out really well. So I have gotten so much cardio in this week, which has been really nice. I'm trying to think if anything feels crummy in particular. Everything feels pretty good right now. But you know, that's subjective to the weather, how I sleep, the temperature of the water in the shower, you name it. Like, you know, in a moment's notice, my knee can feel funky or my hips can feel tight. Literally, I'm scratching like I have fleas. Okay, we're done. So start at the top of your head, work your way down, notice how you're feeling. You always want to start your class off with kind of a sound knowledge of what's going on in your body that day. You know, I've said this before and I've said different variations of this before, but when you come to a yoga class, say you practice 3 times a week, say you practice Monday, Wednesday, Friday, your body on Monday is not going to be anything like your body on Wednesday or Friday. Even if it feels the same, there's still going to be something that shifted or something that changed or something that's a little tiny bit different. And you have to approach your practice almost with a completely open mind every single time, because you have to make the practice meet you where you are. You can't force yourself to be part of the practice that you wanted to have that day. You know, like if you decide you're going to do all back bends on Wednesday, and Monday you do a bunch of back bends and it feels great. Tuesday you're moving boxes around in your basement. Wednesday morning you feel okay, but you go into your practice of all back bends and suddenly something's not right. You know, like you kind of, I think what I'm trying to say is that I have found that as my practice has evolved, as I've gotten older, I don't so much when I practice by myself plan out what I want to do as just sort of see where the moment leads me. You know, just sort of see where how I'm feeling physically leads me that day. And it's harder when you have a teacher who's guiding you through it, because I have a plan for you today. I don't know if that's where you are, but I have to come and have a plan because I'm teaching a class. But you have to figure out as we're going along what works for you and what doesn't, and what you need to modify, and you know, and just kind of play with it as we go and make it personal, right? Pull your knees into your chest, bring your arms out, palms up. Take a twist over to your right. Let your legs go all the way down to the floor on the right, and then pay attention to the back of the left shoulder. You should know this like the back of your hand by now, this twist, right? This is how I start all my classes, every single class. It's my favorite twist. I feel like it's just a nice, easy, simple kind of spinal wake up, side body stretch, shoulder opener, get across the front of the shoulder and into the top of the chest a little bit. Basic and simple, but a few little instructions that just help it to give you the most, you know. Pay attention to the back of the left arm. You want that left arm to settle, and you want it to be nice and heavy on the ground. And at the same time, you want the legs to be settled and heavy on the right side of you. We have double swim practice today. So that means basically from 3 to 9, transporting back and forth to swim and waiting for swim will be my whole life. So I'm losing like 6 hours of my life today. The boys have a virtual swim meet on Sunday. It's the first swim meet of the season for their team, and it's virtual, which means that we can't go. We just have to drop off at different times because they're in different age groups. And it will be live streamed, so we've never had a swim meet like this before. Not entirely sure how it's going to work, but Alex is super excited to swim, and this is going to be an official meet with times that count, which is important for him. And Cam hopefully just won't get in trouble. That's all I'm hoping. You know, the coaches are going to have so much going on. They're entering into a whole new way of hosting swim meets. And then they've got a bunch of like 9-year-olds running around without parents, and sugar and video games, and I don't know. I keep on emailing the coach and saying, "Are you sure we can't help at all?" She's like, "Nope, sorry, can't help. We're fine. We're fine." Not going to be fine with Cam and his friends, but we'll see. Bring your knees up to center. Come on into a happy baby, or one hand on each kneecap. Find your movement. Let the weight of your arms pull your legs wider so that you get a little bit of a hip opening here. You want to force a little space in between that, the head of the femur bone, the big thigh bone, and the hip socket. And then bring the arms out wide, palms up, drop your legs over to the left. Pay attention to the back of the right arm and what the back of that shoulder is doing. You want it snuggled into the ground. You want it straight out. You want to be able to take deep breaths, deep inhales, deep exhales. And at the same time, you want your legs to be heavy on the left side of you. There's a sunbeam. I don't think it'll be in the video, but it's coming in through the window that's kind of across from me. And I can see it cutting across the camera. I used to love looking at sunbeams when I was little. I don't know when I took the time to look at one last, but it's kind of mesmerizing me a little. So, see, I wish we could talk for a minute about Thanksgiving. Kind of crazy this year, right? A little bit different for everybody. We normally have a fairly small Thanksgiving with just my parents, and then Christmas is bigger with cousins and aunt and uncles. So we're just doing what we normally do with us and my parents, but Mike and I are doing the cooking and then bringing everything down to their house just to make it a little bit easier, I guess, for them. There's more room there as well. But for us, it's not a huge difference. We're not cutting out tons of people or anything like that. But with the travel restrictions and everything going on, it's definitely going to be different for a lot of people. Just temporary though, right? We got to get through it. Knees up to center, happy baby, or one hand on each knee. And again, find your movement front to back. I always prefer left to right because then I feel like I hit the iliosacral joints a little bit in the back of my hips, and it always feels really good. But you decide what's going to feel best for you. Find a little movement, and then bring your feet to the floor. Knees are bent, soles of the feet together, and let the knees pop out to the sides. I was disappointed this week. I don't know if any of you that are doing this were in my Outdoor Wednesday class, but our last class got canceled because it was supposed to be 32 degrees out. Not super conducive to outdoor yoga, but we gave it a good try. We got a good run. I think we lost 2 classes due to rain, and then the last one because it was so freaking cold. But we had been working on breaking up the sun salutation and paying attention to each individual pose and then combining them all together, and we never got to the combined all together part because we canceled our last class. So kind of a bummer. We'll have to pick up on that series and maybe redo it and revamp it and play around with it a little bit differently when we get to meet next. So hopefully soon. All right, come on over onto hands and knees with me. Move your blanket or towel to the side, whatever you have to work with. Hands and knees. Hands and knees. The dog is on the back of a chair across the room from me, and she's staring at me. And I'm just super praying that nobody dares to come up on the front porch or the mailman or anything like that, because she will go ballistic. You will hear her crazy like you have never heard before. So spread your fingers nice and wide. Let's just start by, go wider with your knees than you normally would. And let's just start with like a little bit of a back and forth. You want to feel this a little in your inner thighs. So when you plant your knees and you go wider, and then you kind of lean one hip to the side. So when I lean my right hip out to the right, I feel this on the inside of my left thigh. And then when I do my left hip to the left, I feel it on the inside of my right thigh. So it's kind of doing the opposite action. And by pressing your knees down, you're really giving those quad muscles, as well as everything that surrounds the quad, a chance to stretch. And it just feels kind of unusual and good at the same time. So just 1 or 2 more on each side. Okay, now bring the knees closer together. So now what we're going to do, the sleeves on this are slippery. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to let our hips drop a little bit. We're going to go to one side and let the hips drop down. Come on up to center. Rock to the right side. Let the hips drop. We're just going to go back and forth a little bit. You can go slow and feel your way through this. You can go a little bit faster and just, wiggle it out. But this is kind of an outer hip stretch. This is a stretch for the outside of your hip. So it targets an area that's a little bit harder to get in general. Uh-oh, dog's on the move. Uh-oh. All right, hands and knees. Bring your knees to your normal cat and cow width, whatever that is for you. Spread your fingers nice and wide and start to cat and cow, moving on your breath, manipulating the spine, rolling it up and down. Really arch. It feels so good right now to arch my back like crazy and really stick my tailbone out there. Play around with finding that length in the low back area. One more big rounding up towards the ceiling, pressing the floor away. Coming back to center, and we're going to come into a wide knee child's pose. So big toes touch, knees out to the side, arms out in front of you, come all the way down. Come on up. Keep the hands planted in the front. You're going to stay on the knees, but you're going to extend the right leg out behind you. Curl the toes under. Press the toes into the ground. I don't know if you can see what I'm doing, but toes are pressing into the ground, and I'm pressing out through my heel to lengthen everything in the back of my legs, especially the back of my knee, which is kind of a spot that we never think about. And then pull that one in, same thing, left side, curl the toes under, press out through the heel, lift the leg high, come on back to hands and knees, and again, just find a little bit of a sway here with the hips, not going too far to one side or the other, but just really planting down through the hands, keeping the shoulders fairly stationary, and then just moving the spine by lengthening out through the hips in either direction. Okay, now we are going to come on up into downward facing dog. Drop your heels. Bend your knees, find some height in the tailbone, press out through the back of the knees, and really drop the heels to the floor, just letting them go to wherever they settle, but feeling this as a stretch in the back of the legs. We're going to walk our hands back to meet our feet, inchworming our way to the back of the mat. We're going to cross our arms and hang forward. Release your hands. Inhale all the way up to stand, nice and slow, rolling up, one vertebrae at a time. Adjust your pants, pull down your shirt. Do whatever you have to do to feel comfortable. And then arms at your side, palms forward, inhale up. Let's interlace our fingers, shoot our left hip out to the side, and reach towards the right with our upper body. And then come on back to center. Same thing, right hip out to the right, reaching towards the left with our upper body. And then coming back, separate the arms, find a little back bend here. Inhale up, exhale, fingertips to the floor. We're going to come up into 3 flat backs. So inhale up, arch your back, look up, exhale and fold. Inhale up, exhale and fold. And one more time, inhale up, exhale and fold. Now we're going to walk out on our hands, coming into downward facing dog. And we're going to check our stance by inhaling forward into a plank. Exhale back into your dog. Drop the heels. And we're going to find a quick scorpion here. So you're going to shift your weight into your right foot. Left leg is going to come up high behind you and kick over to the right. And then we're going to place it down and do the same thing with the right leg. Place it down, and then gently find hands and knees, and come into our wide knee child's pose. Come on up. So let's come to, let's come to a seated position for a minute. Grab your blanket, grab your towel, grab whatever perches you up a little bit. Let's just open up our side bodies for a second. So come to a wide-legged seated. Find a little movement here. Work your way down towards the middle. Coming to wherever you're comfortable. So for you, your hands may be back here, they may be on your thighs, they may be way up here. Wherever you're comfortable is where you're stopping. Okay, so let's place our right forearm on the ground on the outside of our right hip. Let's bring our legs together, coming into a staff pose. When you're sitting like this, legs are together, feet are flexed, spine is up straight and tall. It's called staff pose. So we're going to keep our legs like this. You're flexing your feet, pressing out through the big toe mounds. Toes are pulling back, heels are pressing out. Arches are elongating, right? Right forearm down on the ground on the outside of the right hip. Try not to roll up the left hip too much. It's got to come up a little bit, but you want to do your best to keep it anchored. Left arm comes up and over. And then we're going to come up. Same thing on the other side. So left forearm down on the ground outside of the left hip. Right arm up and over, trying to keep the outside of the right hip anchored. And then come on up. We're going to come into a quick twist. So you're going to sit in the S formation, which my little yogi girls this summer taught me. I never knew what this is called. It's called S, apparently. So left leg is bent in front of you. Right leg is bent on the side of you, same shape. Right hand comes to the outside of the left knee. Left fingertips are going to go into the ground behind you. And you're going to find a twist. And I wanted to talk about twisting for a second, because twisting is a really good little thing to have in your yoga know-how, your yoga arsenal, especially around holidays that involve a lot of food. Twisting quite literally moves things through your digestive tract, through your system, and I don't want to say it gives you more room for more food, because that's gross, but it definitely can help make you feel a little bit more comfortable if you tend to overindulge and have that full gross feeling. So if you're alone at home with your family, which hopefully most of us will be this season, right? Find a space, drop on the floor, and do a couple twists. Like this simple twist we did in the very beginning, this twist that we're doing right now. Twisting will just help to kind of pass things along and get rid of that like lead balloon feeling, okay? So right hand on your left knee, left fingertips behind you, press into the ground with your fingertips, sit up straight and tall, lead with the left shoulder here, and find a rotation that starts in the hip socket, down in the hip crease, and goes straight up through the top of your head. So when you inhale into your twist, you sit up straight and tall. When you exhale, you find a slightly deeper rotation. Come on back to center. So now that we're in this position, we're going to stay here. We're going to fold ourselves down over our right thigh, our left thigh. So you're going to follow the line of your left thigh. Walk your hands out. Again, like in any forward bend, you just go to wherever you're comfortable. But you want to try to find a little bit of depth here, because we're really working on opening deep into the hips, but also lengthening from the tailbone up. And it never hurts to put more room in your spine. That's my motto. So fold yourself over the left leg. And come on up. So now we're going to reverse our legs, and we're going to twist to the right, noticing if one side is a little bit harder for you than the other. My right hip is chronically tighter than my left hip. So definitely, even just sitting like this, you see I'm leaning to the right a little bit, it's definitely harder for me because I can feel the tightness. I can feel it, and it feels really crummy. I just have a very hard time breaking it up in that right hip. So left hand to the outside of the right knee, right fingertips to the ground behind us. Sit up straight and tall. Find your rotation from the hips, from the kidneys really, out through the crown of the head. Back to center, and now we're going to fold over the front leg, the right leg, and just come down to where we're comfortable. So see, on the other side, I could fold completely over my leg. On this side, I just can't. The tightness won't let me. I can go to the side and fold, but I can't fold straight over it, which is annoying. I don't know why that is, but it's just a chronically tight hip, and I'm always trying to figure out how to break through. Come on up. We're going to come back over onto hands and knees. Move your blanket or your towel or whatever it is that you have there. Adjust yourself. Everything has to be adjusted. Undies especially. There's no good underwear for yoga. Alright, spread your fingers nice and wide. Start to move the hips a little bit side to side. And what we're going to do is pop up into dog and then hang out in a plank for a second. So come on up into your dog. Drop the heels, lengthen out through the heels and the back of the knees. Inhale forward into a plank. Back into dog. Down onto hands and knees into your wide knee child's pose. And then come on up and lay on your belly. Okay, so, ooh, that sun is bright right in that spot. Holy cow. So we're going to windshield wafer for just a second. And then we're going to lower down and we're going to prop ourselves up on our forearms. So you want your elbows under your shoulders. You want your wrists to be the same distance apart as your elbows. Your hands are going to want to work their way in. You have to work really hard and use your upper arm muscles to keep that from happening. We're just bringing our chest forward and we're coming into Sphinx pose. So the fingers are spread nice and wide. Shoulders are rolling back. Shoulder blades are coming together on your back. Elbows and wrists are equal distance apart. Chest is coming forward. We're just going to take some nice deep breaths here. This is just a chest opener, a heart opener. Breaks up tightness in the upper back. Find your breath here. There's a dog outside. Okay, relax your arms and notice how tired your arms feel from just maintaining that pose. It requires a lot of muscular energy that just, oh, hi girlfriend. You okay? Oh, hi. Oh, hi. Oh, we're doing yoga. Okay. We're going to do some yoga. I'm sorry, but you don't have a mat. All right, let's come on up. Ooh. What is happening? Gosh, she's so disruptive to life. Oh, and look, she's back. Okay, Callie, sit. Callie, sit. Callie, sit. Good girl. Lay down. We're going to come up into downward facing dog. You have an eye buggy. Downward facing dog. Drop the heels, put a little bend in the knees. And we're going to take a big step forward with the right foot coming into a long lunge. Right foot in front. Okay? Back knee is going to come down onto the mat. And you're going to walk your hands forward a little and shift your weight so that you're feeling this in the front of the left hip, left thigh, and also deep in the right hip. And then you can let the leg roll out to the side a little tiny bit to go even deeper into that right hip area where the femur sits right in the socket. And then from here, we're going to just come to a 90-degree angle on the front leg. We're going to bring our hands onto the front thigh, and we're going to shift forward again, but this time really forcing ourselves to hug into the midline and balance because we don't have any hands on the floor. And then we'll go back. We'll flex that foot, pull the toes back towards you, and press out through the back of the right knee. All right, so let's go back into downward facing dog. Inhale forward into a plank. Engage the core here. You want to support the low back. And the best way to do that is to tighten up the core. Back into dog. And then we're going to step forward with the left foot. Long lunge. Back knee comes down on the ground. Hands are going to stay down. And the weight's going to shift forward. And then again, you can roll that knee out a little bit to go deeper into the hip socket. Sit back, flex the left foot, pull the toes back, press out through the big toe mound and the arch and the heel, press the back of the knee out. And then come on up. You want to find that 90-degree angle in the front leg. Hands come onto the front thigh, which forces us to hug into the midline for stability, and we shift our weight forward. And just find your breath here. These low lunges are all lunges where you use body weight to help open. And this is such a good hip opener. All right, come on back, hands and knees. Cat and cow for just a minute or so. Wide knee child's pose. Big toes touch, hips press back, forehead or chin down on the ground. All right, grab your blanket or towel right at the back end of your mat and just find a comfortable seated position. Bring your legs back out into staff, which we talked about earlier is legs parallel, side by side. Feet are flexed. You're pressing out through the big toe mound, the pinky toe side, and the heel. So you're lengthening the arch, and you're really feeling the engagement in the back of your legs and the back of your quads, back of your calves, and then you press out through the back of your knees to kind of flatten a little bit, right? Find a little bit of movement here, just a tiny little rocking motion that can be so calming and relaxing sometimes. Okay, we are going to bring our right ear to our right shoulder. Right hand is going to, you can spread the fingers wide and just place it right above the left ear. Let the weightiness of that arm just pull you a tiny bit deeper to stretch out everything on the left side of your neck. And then same thing on the other side. So left ear to left shoulder, right left hand, fingers spread wide, right above the right ear, just lengthening everything. Do some neck rolls, whatever feels good here for you. And then one last shoulder opener, right hand to left shoulder, left hand to the back of the right elbow. Press the arm into yourself so you feel this in the back of the shoulder. And then go high and behind you. And then do the opposite, left hand to the right shoulder. Right hand to the back of the left elbow, pressing into yourself. And then bring the arm up. roll yourself down into a comfortable position for just a few minutes of Shavasana. Arms out at your side, palms up, eyes are closed. Just be still with your own breath. Notice how grounded and connected you feel, hopefully, right? Take notice of things that felt a little funky before we started compared to how they feel now. I hope it's noticeably better, even if it's just more relaxed and not like a physical adjustment. That would be okay too. You just always want to feel better when you finish a yoga class than when you started, right? Let your mind wander here. Try not to focus or dwell on any one thought for too long. You want to be very present in the moment, but you also want to be kind of above yourself, you know, like just observing the whole thing, if that makes any sense. You want to be very present in the moment, but you don't want to be like deep in thought. That's what I mean to say. When you are ready, start to wiggle your fingers and your toes a little bit, and just give yourself a little wake up. Press yourself up to a comfortable seated position. Hands come to your heart in prayer. Close your eyes, take a nice deep breath in. Exhale. And again, inhale. And exhale. Namaste. Namaste, friends. Happy Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving week. Right? I know it's going to be different for some of you, but I hope it's still a really good day. Right? Like, we have to look for the good in every single day right now, because there's always some good, but there's so much negative right now, and it can overshadow the good. So you have to dig deep, but find the good. Have a good Thanksgiving. Maybe start some new traditions. And remember, if you eat too much, do some yoga. Do some twisting. Get your twist on. Find a dark room and stop, drop, and twist. And move that apple pie along so that you can make room for, I don't know, turkey sandwich. I don't know. But remember to do some yoga and have a good Thanksgiving. So I will see you again next week. Thank you for watching. Remember, these classes are being brought to you by the Cedar Grove Public Library. So if you happen to see any of the librarians and you appreciate these classes and you like them, just let them know and thank them. Okay? Take care. Have a great week. Bye.